Hi, my name is Sam, and in this tutorial we'll be looking at how to slice images from Photoshop and to optimize and send them into HTML or let's say Dreamweaver for that matter. To get started, you want to create your work the way you want to see it in a browser. Photoshop, you would actually create your design just as you would expect to preview it in a browser. So here I have this page created in Photoshop. It's got several layers. So these are all layers that this page depends on. You can shut some of them off and turn them on again. So I have not collapsed everything. When you look here in the layers, I have one up nav and down over nav. If I turn the up nav on, you see that my buttons change color, and the intention here is to actually make a provision where I'm going to have a rollover version of my button. For that matter, when we roll over our mouse, the color changes from one to the other one. Alright, so before I actually start any slicing, we want to use the rulers. In case you don't see your rulers or you don't find them, you may want to go to View and choose Rulers. Keyboard shortcut is Command R. And with my rulers, I'm going to drag these and place them where I expect each of these to be separated. What we're doing in slicing is we want to separate each of these buttons, okay, because we will be clicking on them. We don't want the whole thing as one big image, so we intend to separate them. You may probably zoom in a bit more to be more accurate. Okay, so with the move tool, you may move your guides and place them appropriately where you need to. So I'll go ahead and drag all of these and place them where I need to. So somewhere here, in case they snap like they are snapping now, you may want to go to View, again to View, and if you have snap turned on, you may want to turn it off. In that case, you have more flexibility. It doesn't snap. Okay, so here at the edge here, you don't need to provide that, but somewhere here we need to. So I'm going to drag one of these from the left and place it just right here. So you can tell I have this as a separate button, 2, 3, 4, 5. There are other objects on the stage that we may need to also have to slice. We will need this logo. Okay, so in that case, I have to go and drag one and place it right here. So the logo is sort of separated. We can keep one guide at the top, but it's not necessary, and on the left, okay, it's not necessary. So currently this is taken care of, that's taken care of, and the other ones below here are taken care of. The next thing that we will need as an image or separate is also this photograph here. Okay, so this image of the car here and these other images for these cars, we need to also optimize them and to save them as separate images and take them into Dreamweaver or into HTML. So I'm going to go, well, with this guide here, it definitely takes care of this one, and so these two guides take care of this image, and so I'm fine with the top image. Now I'll go down here and I'm going to drag this and drop it next to that. You would realize that one of the guides here, okay, this particular one sort of overlaps this one, and for that reason maybe I may make my image just a little smaller or probably move it just a little bit to the left so it aligns with this. Okay, so that's fine. Now I need those images, so I'm going to drag one and drop it here. I'll need them also at the top, so I have lined all of them up, so I'm just dropping this, takes care of the topmost, and drag one just right below here. I'll go ahead and place one here and one there, so I'll drag one and put it down here, somewhere here, and drag the next one and place it just right here. I'll drag another one and put it down on this, and drag another one and keep it down somewhere here, and for the last one I'll drag it and put it right here. Okay, so here I have my guides, and sort of the guides the images that I need to be able to crop are all enclosed in the guides. You may be asking, why did I choose these and probably not take everything as an image? The main idea of doing slicing or optimizing is to be able to reduce as much as possible the images that you send into HTML. When you have so many images, it weighs your page, and so makes your page quite heavy. So with this places where we have this sort of flat color, one color, or one big color, like in this area, we can do that in with CSS, so we don't have to take this there. With this sort of text, we can have it in HTML, so we don't have to save it as an image, so don't bother about it. Then the next question you may be asking is, we need this whole thing as one big image. How are these divisions? Don't worry about that, we'll deal with that very soon. So I'm going to go to select. When we're doing slicing, there's probably one or two tools that we would need, and you would find that if you're using CS4 or CS5, you'll find it under the crop tool. So when I click and hold down here, you'll see that there are two more other tools below, and this is what we call a slice tool. When I select the slice tool, I can decide to go, so this is one image. Okay, this is my first image I need. That's a logo. I'll need the one. I can go and start clicking. Okay, realize that when I click, you have these blue labels. We call them user slices. And then automatically, when I zoom, let me zoom in a little bit more so you can see. You will see it's named O1. There is one also created O2, which is not blue in color but gray, because I have not intentionally created that. We call that auto slices. Auto slices are created as a result of you creating user slices. And then you see down here a third one is created called O3. That's an auto slice because it's created automatically. I can go ahead and use the slice tool to keep clicking and dragging as I want to, but you already probably might see how this can be very difficult. And the other thing is that you may want, especially with the buttons, you may want them to have the same dimensions, especially in terms of width. There's a tendency for you to drag and probably make one shorter than the other one. So instead of using the slice to click and drag and click and drag, I'll step back. Okay, so I'll go back here, back to my guide. So the last time I used the slice tool, I used the slice tool that's just before, after creating the guide. So I'm going back into history. Now I'll keep my guides there. So with the guides helping me, the next thing you're going to do is to go for the slice tool instead of clicking and dragging as we did earlier on. Once you select the slice tool, you should have at the top here, you have the slice from guide. All right, so with this, if you don't choose a slice tool, you don't have that option, so you have to go for the slice tool before you use the slice from guide. Once you select the slice tool, in this case you don't have to click and drag. Instead of clicking and dragging, just click on the button slice from guide. That means you should have your guides. So I click on slice from guides, and it does the whole job for me. I do not have to click and drag. These lines are straight, so I know my buttons are going to be the same dimension. So that's quite important. It's very, very useful. Having done that, that's the only job that the slice tool is going to do. The next one, so I'll click and hold, and there's a second tool, that is slice select tool. So after using the slice tool, the next thing you do is to use the slice select tool. So here we know that this whole thing we want as one image. Realize they are numbered O1, O2, and O3, O4. Okay, but we want O1 and O2 to be one image. That's going to be our logo. So I'll click O1, hold on shift and select O2, right click on it, and we want to combine those ones. So just check it out. We have O3 here, but once we combine O1 and O2, all right, O3 turns back to O2. So these two are one, and now we have O2. We'll move this to the left, and let me collapse these panels so we can see more of what is on the right side. Okay, I'll go for this tool here and drag that. That's a bit difficult to move. Well, I'll move it from here. Just push it onto the other side. Okay. Alright, I get it. Okay, so I'll go back for my slice select tool, and now I need 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. All of this to be one. So I'll select that hold on shift select, hold shift select, shift select, shift select, shift select, and shift select that, and I want all of that to be one, so I'll right click on it and combine slices. So all of this is now O2. Okay, so that's the whole image, and that's O2. Now I'll go to my buttons. I know this whole brown version of it, I want it to be one. It's now O3 and O4, so I'll combine O3 and O4. So I'll select O3 and go shift and select O4, right click, and I'll combine. Okay, so 11 and 12 should be one, so I'll select 11, shift and 12, right click, and I'll combine. Realize that we are not combining these two, so this is separate, this is now separate. I'll select 19 and 20, right click and combine. Select 27 and 29, right click and combine. When you're working on your own, yours might have different numbering, so it may be slightly different from this, but you get the idea. We are making things that we want as separate images, so we can be able to take them into HTML and to utilize them. These buttons we will be creating using CSS, so you don't need to bother about that aspect of it. The next ones we need are these cars. So they have been done nicely. There are no lines dividing them somehow. Just make sure you check again. Okay, no other lines dividing them, so we are fine with them. What we would have to do is, having done this, realize that these come in numbers. Because they come in numbers, like O3, when you double click, you will double click with the slice select tool, the same tool we're using to combine them. When I double click here, realize that it creates with the car name, with the file name, and the file name is car site underscore slice underscore start underscore O3, all right, and indicating the number here. That means if we're going to save this, we're going to have as many images, and in this case, when you look at the last number here, that's about 89 or something. It means you're going to have about 89 separate images, but it's not all of them that we need just some of them. In the first place, to identify them, giving them names like car, slice, O3 and O whatever doesn't explain what they are. So I'm going to double click on this, and I'll call it logo instead of those names there. That's all I'm going to change, and I'll click on OK. I'll go to the O2, double click on that, and that's going to be my banner. So I'll just give the name banner, and I'll click on OK. I'll go to this button here, double click on that, and I'll call it home underscore BTN. So it's basically giving the name home button. All right, and I'll double click on this one, call it about BTN. About underscore VTN, and I'll go to the next one, and I'll call it gallery underscore BTN. Okay, and I'll go to the next, and I'll call it links underscore VTN, and I'll go to the last one, and I'll call it contacts underscore VTN. All right, so we need those cars down here, so we double click, and let me just call this car 1. I'll call it car 1, car 2, or whatever descriptive name you think you may have for them. You would use that, and car 3. And go to the last one, car 4. Okay, so once I have given these names, I'm not bothering so much about whether they are supposed to be, let's say, JPEG or GIF or whatever. I'll come to the next stage, and in the next stage we will be looking at, or we will decide whether which image we have to save as, say, a JPEG, or which image we have to save as a GIF, and we will get into that in the next tutorial. But for now, this is how you do your slicing. Having done this, the next thing is for us to optimize it. So we've sliced them, and slicing is very easy. We've sliced them, and the next thing we have to do is to optimize. If you have Illustrator, you can do a similar thing in Illustrator. Hopefully this is helpful, and we'll go to File, Save for Web and Device, and that is where we will meet in the next section. All right, hope to meet you there. See you. Bye.